Hey guys, it's Jason over at Kaiser Willys, and today we're going to be installing the oil bath air cleaner onto the firewall. There are two brackets. It's going to come with 4 of these wing nuts here. I've already got the brackets in place, so I want to show you guys kind of what this looks like. So this oil bath air cleaner, it's got a cup here. You can remove these. It's going to pop down. You can put your oil in there. It's really cool. Has normal oil level, so it tells you how much to put in here. So in previous videos you've seen, I had the dry element air filter which goes on top of the carburetor. So I want to show you guys what it looks like to take it from the top of the carburetor over to an oil bath. Right here is where that would mount. You've got 2 brackets. So this kit, you can buy it with the brackets or without the brackets. So if you've already got these brackets and you just want to change out that nasty old canister and want to go with a fresh new one, you can buy it without the brackets or you can buy it with the brackets. These brackets are going to mount right here on the firewall. I do have a bolt that I'm going to tighten in there. What I did, you guys saw in a previous video, I had my solenoid, I had it mounted here. It was perfectly fine because I had the dry element air filter in there. But now that I'm going to put this oil bath, I relocated it. So I used one of the sides right there to mount onto the bracket. I don't know if you can see it. So that, and then I drilled another hole right there. It's the perfect amount of clearance. It won't make any contact with the oil bath, but it still allows me to keep the solenoid out of the way, not tucking it over here and have multiple wires draping. So again, these are the brackets. I've already got them in place. This tub, this is one of our body tubs, has these holes pre-drilled, and there's cage nuts or welded in box nuts or whatever you want to call them. And these bolts run right into that. So there's no nuts that you're tightening on either side of the firewall. Really cool. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this guy and we're going to fit everything up, and then I'll show you what it looks like trying to install this, and then we'll be able to take all the stuff coming from the carburetor over to this guy. All right, so one of the first things I want to talk about with this oil canister is on the left side, you've got normal holes, and on the other side, you've got slotted holes. This makes it really easy for you to just go ahead and install these 2 hard to reach wing nuts, and you can just kind of slip that side in and line it up with the other side, and then run the wing nuts in on just the one side. So once you've got it kind of in there, now you can kind of back it up and line everything up so that you can then tighten it in. All right, so now that we've got everything all locked down and into place, the brackets on there, the oil canisters on there, the next thing to do is to get some oil in this guy. So there's a little cup here, a little reservoir, and there's 2 latches on either side. So this makes it very convenient, even though it is kind of in a tougher to reach place. You can remove that. And on the inside of that is actually a filter in the canister here. So that's actually a filter in there. All right, so now that we've got this cup on the bench, you'll see on the side, it actually says there's a caution level, and then there's a normal oil level. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this up to that particular point. We're gonna use just regular engine oil. So we've got 10W30, non-synthetic, the same stuff that's going into the engine. All right, so now we've got the cup in place. It's got the oil. We've got the oil bath up onto the brackets onto the firewall. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put the crossover tube on top of the head, and then we can start kind of linking everything together. All right, guys, so now that we've got the oil bath air cleaner all mounted up onto the firewall, these are the pieces that are going to be used to take from the carburetor, the top of the carburetor, over to the oil bath. So you've got your air horn, you've got your seal that goes below the air horn, your clamp that's going to clamp this onto the carburetor. Then you've got what you're going to end up having is you've got this tube which is going to connect with this other piece of rubber, which is going to take a clamp. And then from this tube, which mounts on top of the head, and we'll show you how that works, you'll have a crossover tube, which will go onto the oil bath air cleaner port, held on with another one of these clamps. So we'll start installing all these things and we'll show you what it looks like. All right, so we've got our crossover tube. We've removed these two head stud nuts, and the crossover tube has this bracket, and it's got the two holes right here. You'll see those are going to go right there onto those studs. Now, there is this hole. I want to talk about this. There's this hole right here. The spark plug cables will actually end up snaking through that, and a grommet will go there. We'll do that at a later date. Right now we're trying to get all this stuff fit so that it could go in. All right, so we've got this all tightened up and everything is in place. What we did now is you're gonna put this guy right here. You see this ridge here, there are little tabs, and that's gonna more or less just, line up with the tabs that are on here. You can see that. And this ridge here, this little cutout is actually for this side over here. So what we'll do is we'll slip this back on here, and then we're gonna go ahead and take our air horn and slip it into place, and it's gonna go into here. But before you do that, you're gonna wanna slip this guy back over here so that you're kind of out of the way, and then move it forward because it's gonna end up covering between the air horn and this when they're mated together. So we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so what we've got here, we've got this all in place now. We've put our air horn inside the seal. You want to go ahead and have this guy just kind of loose hanging here, and then we'll come back through and tighten this down. This will tighten this to here. You want to make sure that this gets slipped on before you do any of this. This slipped up in place. This guy is in that hole here. Then we move this forward. This will come up here. We'll tighten that clamp there at that point. This will get tightened at this point. And then we'll start working on the hose that goes from there to there. So we'll get all this stuff tightened up, and then we'll move on to the other side. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, or the last thing, I guess, well, no, the next thing, because we got one more piece and I'll show you that. This is gonna be the crossover hose. So you've got this little piece of hose here. Again, you wanna go ahead and get your clamps on beforehand. You can't really get them on after that. So we're gonna go ahead and put our hose in place. Sometimes you really got to hold your mouth, right? Okay. And then what you'll do is you'll tighten these guys down, and then you'll have the main train from the carburetor over to the oil bath all installed. All right, so the last little piece of this equation here is you've got this dipstick tube right here, the oil dipstick tube, and it's got a port, and as does the crossover tube. So we have this little piece of tubing here along with two clamps to clamp that in place, and basically that's going to give you some more dump off of the crankcase ventilation and stuff, along with the taking it over to the carburetor. So you'll slip this in, and what we did is because this can get really tight and you want it to be tight, we put a little bit of WD-40 on the inside of the tube. It's not going to hurt anything. So again, you're going to want to slip both of the clamps on at this point, and then slip this guy up onto that last little port. All right, so now we've got everything from the carburetor over across the head and to the oil bath air cleaner. Then we've got this dipstick tube with hose clamps. So now we've got everything going from the carburetor to the oil bath all installed. And one cool little note here, you guys see this upper radiator hose. This is temporary, but what I did is I changed heads on this guy. This is the original head that came with my engine, and it's actually a 2-bolt style water neck, which comes more out at a straight ahead. versus the 3-bolt style, which kind of angles over towards this way. So I ended up having to use a universal hose here to take it over there. But I just wanted to kind of point that out so if you guys see that. But this is taking from the carburetor to the oil bath on the CJ-2A. So I hope this helps you guys when you go to install these pieces. You can find all of these at kaiserwillys.com. Thanks for watching, guys.